The sharp crack of ceramic against marble shattered the morning quiet on the third floor of the Legacy Woodworks building, followed by a muffled shriek Kate knew all too well. Kate, who had just been about to sign a stack of invoices in her office, let out a long sigh. She set down her pen, massaged her temples for a moment, and then stood up. Through the glass wall of her office, she could see the chaos at Chloe's desk. Her younger sister, the company's head of finance. A dark, black liquid was pooling on Chloe's white desk, dripping heavily onto the carpet, and most fatally, soaking half of a sleek silver ultrabook that was still powered on. It's dead, she thought. Oh God, I'm so stupid. Chloe's hands trembled in the air, not daring to touch the electronic device that was now emitting a faint hissing sound. Kate walked out, grabbed a handful of tissues from a nearby desk, and calmly forced a shutdown by holding the power button, ignoring the coffee that seeped onto her fingers. "Calm down, Chloe. Don't panic yet," Kate said, her voice soft but firm. Chloe looked at her older sister, her face pale, her round, watery eyes, her signature weapon since childhood for getting out of trouble, staring at Kate in terror. A terror that, in Kate's opinion, seemed a bit excessive for a simple coffee spill. "Kate, all the financial reports for this quarter are on there," Chloe stammered, her voice shaking. "I haven't backed them up to the cloud in a week because the office internet has been so slow. Adrian needs that data this afternoon for his presentation to the investors from Tokyo. I'm finished. Kate, Adrian is going to kill me." Kate patted her sister's shoulder. "Adrian is my husband. He's not going to fire his own sister-in-law over a cup of coffee, but the data is crucial." Kate lifted the laptop, which now felt sticky and cold. It smelled like a mixture of expensive artisanal coffee and burnt circuits. "Use the spare laptop for now. I'll take care of this. Our office IT guy is always slow and just defaults to reformatting everything. I'll take it to the guy Dad always used, Mitch." Hearing that name, Chloe's eyes widened slightly. "Mitch? That repair guy in the old strip mall? Can he really handle a new model like this, Kate? Shouldn't we just buy a new one or take it to the official service center?" "The official center will take 2 weeks, Chloe." "You need the data this afternoon, right?" Kate cut in logically. "Mitch used to be a forensic accountant before he retired and opened that shop. He's a wizard at recovering data from dead electronics. Trust me." Chloe looked hesitant, her hands wringing the hem of her work skirt. "Well, okay. But Kate, please just tell Mitch to save the Finance 2025 folder. Nothing else. Don't let him poke around. I have a lot of personal photos on there. I'd be embarrassed if some old guy saw them." Kate smiled understandingly. "Of course, your privacy is safe. I'm leaving now." As Kate turned towards the elevator, she glanced down the hall toward Adrian's office. The door was shut tight. Her husband was in an important meeting. Kate felt a mix of pride and exhaustion. Her father's company was thriving under Adrian's sharp management and Chloe's financial diligence. She felt lucky to be surrounded by family she could trust 100%, allowing her to focus more on product design and raising their young daughter at home. At least, that was what she believed that morning, a belief that would last for less than 2 more hours. Kate's white Lexus SUV pulled up in front of a grimy storefront in an old industrial park on the south side of Chicago. A sign that read, "Mitch's Data Recovery," hung crookedly, its paint peeling from years of harsh weather. It was a stark contrast to the gleaming glass tower of Legacy Woodworks. But for Kate, this place held a certain nostalgia. Her late father had always brought his broken electronics here. The smell of solder, old dust, and stale cigarette smoke greeted Kate as she pushed open the heavy glass door. The space was cramped, filled with stacks of motherboards, old CRT monitors, and cables hanging like vines from a banyan tree. "Good afternoon, Mitch," Kate called out. A middle-aged man with thick glasses perched on his nose emerged from behind a fortress of hard drives. His hair was completely white, but his eyes were still sharp and intelligent. He squinted. Then a broad smile spread across his face, deepening the wrinkles around his eyes. "Well, look who it is. Kate. It's been too long. How's the husband? The little one?" "Everyone's great, Mitch," Kate replied warmly, placing Chloe's laptop on a workbench covered with an anti-static mat. "I need an emergency rescue. My sister Chloe's laptop took a coffee bath." The company's lifeblood for this afternoon is on it. Mitch grunted softly, pulling the laptop closer. He switched on a bright work light and deftly began removing the screws from the back panel as if he were performing surgery. Your sister, she's the dramatic one, right? The one who cried her eyes out when her iPod fell in the pool? Mitch mumbled with a chuckle. Still just as dramatic, Mitch, Kate laughed lightly. The priority is the data, please. The hardware is secondary. She said the Finance 2025 folder is the most important. Mitch nodded. He removed the solid-state drive from its slot, cleaned the coffee residue with a special solution, and inserted it into a docking station connected to 3 large monitors on the wall. Hang tight, Kate. I'm bypassing the boot system. If the drive isn't fried, I should be able to read everything in about 15 minutes. Kate sat down on a wobbly plastic stool. She pulled out her phone and checked a message from Adrian. Adrian, hey honey, where are you? Chloe said you took her laptop. Don't be too long, okay? I need the cash flow summary by 1 p.m. Kate replied, on it. At Mitch's place. Wait for my update. Kate watched Mitch's hunched back. The screens in front of him flickered with lines of code. The monotonous hum of a small server's cooling fan filled the corner of the room. Kate closed her eyes for a moment, enjoying the brief respite from the office hustle. She had been feeling tired lately, like there was an invisible weight on her shoulders. Maybe she and Adrian just needed a vacation together after this project was done. 15 minutes passed. The quiet in the shop suddenly changed its texture. It was no longer a peaceful silence, but a heavy, tense one. The sound of Mitch's keyboard tapping stopped completely. Kate opened her eyes. She saw that Mitch was no longer looking at the screen with a technical expression, but with a stiff posture. The old man took off his glasses, wiped them on the hem of his shirt, and put them back on. He leaned closer to the screen, making sure he was seeing correctly. Kate, he said, his voice raspy, a stark departure from his earlier cheerful tone. Yes, Mitch? Is the data corrupted? Kate asked, a knot of worry forming in her stomach. Mitch didn't answer right away. He slowly swiveled his chair to face her. His wrinkled face was tense, his eyes holding a mixture of pity and anger. Lock the front door, kid, and flip the sign to closed. Kate's heart began to pound. What is it, Mitch? Why do I need to lock the door? Just do it, Kate. You need to see this for yourself, not as a boss, but as the inheritor of your father's legacy. With trembling hands, Kate flipped the sign and bolted the door. The shop grew dimmer. She walked over to Mitch's workbench. This laptop has a dual partition, Mitch explained, his finger pointing to the middle screen. Chloe set up a dual boot system. One is a standard Windows for office work, the other is a hidden, password-protected system. But she forgot something. Coffee doesn't need a password to short-circuit a motherboard, and my equipment reads data directly from the memory chips, bypassing the operating system entirely. So you were able to open her private folders? Kate asked, a pang of guilt hitting her. Mitch, if it's just photos of her boyfriend or something, I don't want to see it. That's her privacy. If it were just a boyfriend, I wouldn't have told you to lock the door, Mitch cut in sternly. He clicked on a folder named Project Aurora. Look at this. The monitor displayed a series of subfolders. 1. Shell, Company, Transfers. 2. Draft, Takeover, Agreement. 3. A and C. Open number 3 first, Mitch instructed softly. Kate complied, her hand unsteady on the mouse. The folder opened, revealing hundreds of photo and video thumbnails. Kate's world stopped spinning. They weren't photos of Chloe with a boyfriend. They were photos of Chloe with Adrian. There were pictures of them having a romantic dinner in Miami, from when Adrian said he was on a business trip last month. There were pictures of them kissing inside Adrian's car. There were pictures of Chloe wearing Adrian's work shirt in a lavish hotel room, and the most gut-wrenching of all, a short video Chloe had taken of herself. Adrian was sleeping soundly beside her while Chloe smiled at the camera, showing off a diamond ring on her ring finger, a ring far larger than Kate's own wedding band. The metadata on the photos showed the affair had been going on for nearly 2 years. 2 years, Kate whispered, her voice lost in her constricted throat. Her legs felt weak. She had to grip the edge of the workbench to keep from collapsing. Take a deep breath, kid. Don't pass out yet. The worst of it is in folders 1 and 2, Mitch said, his tone now cold, his old forensic accountant instincts taking over. Mitch opened a PDF file named Draft, Emergency, Board, Meeting. Kate forced her eyes, now blurry with tears, to read. It was a meticulously crafted legal document. It outlined a plan to transfer 40% of Kate's shares to a company called Aurora Holdings. "What is Aurora Holdings?" Kate asked. Mitch opened the transfer folder. It's a shell company. The address is a P.O. box in the British Virgin Islands. But look at the cash flow. The screen showed transaction records from Legacy Woodworks. There were regular monthly payments of tens of thousands of dollars to vendors Kate had never heard of. That money was then rerouted, eventually landing in the account of Aurora Holdings. "They're stealing from you, Kate," Mitch stated bluntly. "They're making Legacy Woodworks look like it's losing money on operations. They're bleeding the cash flow dry, slowly but surely. The goal is to make the company's valuation plummet." Kate read another document, a waiver of rights. A space for her signature was already there. "Here's the plan," Mitch continued, analyzing the documents with practiced speed. "They make the company look bankrupt on paper. Then, at the next board meeting, they'll say the only way to save the company is with a cash injection from an outside investor, this Aurora Holdings. You'll be pressured to sell your shares for pennies on the dollar. And once Aurora has the majority stake, Adrian and Chloe take over," Kate finished, her tears now dry, replaced by an icy chill that pierced her to the bone. "They want to take everything. Kid, your husband, your sister. They're planning to kick you out of the house and the company your father built with his blood and sweat." A wave of nausea hit her suddenly, slamming into her solar plexus like a sledgehammer. Kate ran to the small bathroom in the corner of the shop and emptied the contents of her stomach. The breakfast she had lovingly made for Adrian that morning now felt like poison. She crouched next to the grimy toilet, coughing until fresh tears streamed from her eyes. The image of Adrian kissing her forehead that morning flashed in her mind, Chloe's sweet smile when she'd asked for a little extra cash last week. They were laughing at me, Kate thought. All this time, at every family dinner, in every office meeting, they were looking at each other and laughing at me. How stupid she had been. She thought Adrian was working late for their family. She thought Chloe was just a pampered little sister who didn't know any better, but they were a two-headed snake, slowly tightening its coils around her neck. For 2 years, Chloe was her own sister, her own flesh and blood, the person whose overseas college education she had paid for, the person she had always defended when their father got angry, and Adrian, the man who had promised at the altar to protect her. Kate splashed her face with cold water from the tap. She looked at her reflection in the cracked mirror above the sink. Her face was pale, her eyes red. The woman in the mirror looked weak, a pathetic victim. "No," she whispered to her reflection. She remembered her father. He was a tough businessman who had started his company from leftover sawdust and turned it into a national exporter. Her father had never taught her to surrender to thieves. Kate straightened her back. She dried her face with a coarse paper towel. When she walked out of the bathroom, her expression had changed. The fragile Kate was gone. Her face was now hard, as cold as marble. Mitch looked at her with concern. "Kid, you want me to call the cops? This evidence is enough to put them both away." Kate shook her head slowly. She sat back down in front of the computer. "Not the police, Mitch, not yet. But they're criminals, Kate. If I report them now, the legal process will be long and messy. They have money, my money, to hire a team of slick lawyers. They could twist the facts, claim I forged the evidence out of jealousy, or say Chloe was framed. The company's reputation would be destroyed, investors would flee, and Legacy Woodworks would truly go bankrupt. That's exactly what they want." Kate stared at the data on the screen with a murderous gaze. "Besides, Mitch, prison is too good for them. I want them to lose everything, their money, their reputation, and each other." Kate turned to Mitch. "Can you copy all of this onto an encrypted flash drive, then make it look like this laptop was completely reset? Erase any trace of the hidden partition. Just leave the work folders Chloe asked for. But maybe corrupt a few files here and there, just to make it look like some data was naturally lost from the coffee spill." Mitch smiled grimly. He understood. He liked this game. "You got it, Kate. I'll clone the entire drive for you to keep, and I'll make Chloe's laptop so clean it'll look like this old tech just managed to save a few Excel files." "Good," Kate said. She picked up her phone, which was vibrating again. A call from Adrian. She answered, her voice instantly transforming into a sweet, slightly panicked tone, a perfect performance. "Hi, honey. Yes, I'm still waiting. Mitch says the motherboard is probably fried, but the data is recoverable." "Yes, I know. So lucky, right? I'll be home soon. Love you too." Kate hung up. Her face went flat again. "Mitch," she said, "let's start the game." An hour later, Kate parked her car in the driveway of her home. The modern, minimalist house looked peaceful and welcoming. It used to be her sanctuary. Now, it felt like a stage for a twisted play. Kate grabbed Chloe's laptop bag from the passenger seat. Tucked inside her blazer pocket was a small flash drive shaped like a car key, the weapon of mass destruction Mitch had assembled. She took a deep breath, plastered on her best smile, and walked inside. "Kate, you're back!" Chloe called out. She was sitting on the living room sofa, eating cookies from a jar on the coffee table. Her face was a mixture of anxiety and hope. Adrian emerged from the home office, his sleeves rolled up, looking handsome and authoritative. He walked over to Kate and kissed her cheek. The kiss felt disgusting. Kate had to fight the urge to spit in his face. "How did it go, honey?" Adrian asked. Kate placed the laptop bag on the table. It was a success. Mitch is a miracle worker. The laptop turns on again, though the screen flickers a little, but he said the data is safe. Chloe immediately snatched the laptop, turning it on impatiently. She typed in her password, the standard Windows password, not the one for the secret partition. "Check the Finance 2025 folder, Chloe," Kate said casually as she poured herself a glass of water in the kitchen, watching them from behind the island. "It's here! It's all here!" Chloe squealed with delight. "Oh my God, you're a lifesaver. Thank you so much, my dear sister." Chloe ran over and hugged Kate. Kate let the snake embrace her. She could smell Chloe's perfume, an expensive Chanel. Kate remembered Adrian mentioning a credit card charge for a client gift last month, the same perfume. It was for Chloe. "Thank goodness," Adrian said, stroking Chloe's hair with a gesture that, at a glance, looked brotherly. But now, in Kate's eyes, it looked intensely intimate and possessive. "Be more careful next time, Chloe. Don't keep making your sister run around for you." Yeah, boss man," Chloe retorted playfully. Suddenly, she fell silent as she checked the C drive. "Huh, that's weird. Why is there so much more hard drive space? I swear this bar was red yesterday. Now it's blue again. 50 free gigs." Kate's heart skipped a beat. That was the storage space from the secret partition that Mitch had permanently wiped. Kate walked over, her face a mask of innocence. "Oh," Mitch said. He cleaned out all the cache and temporary files that were piling up. "He said your laptop was full of system junk, which was why it was so slow. He defragmented it too. Good, right? Now it's running much faster." Adrian and Chloe exchanged a quick glance. A flicker of panic crossed Chloe's eyes. She realized her hidden partition was gone, but she couldn't ask, "Kate, where's my secret folder?" without exposing herself. Chloe swallowed hard and forced a laugh. "Oh, is that so? Mitch is so thorough." "Yeah, it does feel faster." "Why, Chloe? Are there other files missing?" Kate prodded. "No, not at all, Kate. Nothing important. The important work stuff is safe," Chloe answered quickly. Adrian shot Chloe a sharp, meaningful look, as if to say, "Shut up, don't talk about it." "That's good," Adrian said, putting his arm around Kate's waist. "You're amazing, honey. Always the one we can count on to save the family." Kate looked into her husband's eyes. Inside, she said to herself, "Enjoy your praise while you can, Adrian. Because starting today, this family's savior is about to become your worst nightmare." "Of course," she replied with a sweet smile. "We're family. We have to look out for each other, right?" That evening, under the roof of the same house, the war had officially begun. There were no armies, no explosions, only smiles, lies, and a flash drive in a pocket, ready to detonate their lives at any moment. A week had passed since the incident at Mitch's shop. For a week, Kate had lived in a self-created hell, pretending to be happy among the traders. That night, the family dinner table looked warm and inviting to any outsider. There was roast chicken, Adrian's favorite, and garlic mashed potatoes. Chloe was over for her routine weekly dinner, but for Kate, every clink of silverware sounded like the countdown on a time bomb. "Your cooking is unbeatable, Kate," Chloe praised, helping herself to more potatoes. "If you ever retire from the company, you should open a catering business. You'd make a killing." Kate smiled faintly, pouring water into Adrian's glass. "Retire, huh? Sounds nice, but it would be a shame to leave the company when it's struggling like this." Adrian put down his fork, wiping his mouth with a napkin. "That's exactly my point, honey. You get stressed so easily. Let me and Chloe handle the heavy operational stuff. You can just focus on design from home or take a vacation with our daughter. It's not fair for you to be worrying about cash flow all the time." There it was. The narrative of weak Kate was slowly being constructed. Kate rested her elbows on the table, looking straight into Adrian's eyes, then shifted her gaze to Chloe. She put on an innocent face, adorned with a few fabricated worry lines. "Speaking of cash flow, I got a call this afternoon from an old friend, Rebecca. You know, the one who owns the textile factory." Adrian nodded slowly. "What about her?" "Her company just got hit with a massive embezzlement case. The manager was behind it all. It's terrifying. She said the scheme was incredibly sophisticated. They used fake vendors and an offshore shell company," Kate said casually, cutting a piece of chicken. Silence. Chloe, in mid-chew, suddenly choked. She coughed violently, grabbing her water glass so frantically that some of it spilled. Her face turned red. Adrian froze for a second, his fork suspended in mid-air. His eyes darted sharply at Chloe, then back to Kate with a forced smile. "Wow, that's terrible. But our systems are different, honey." "I know," Kate continued, as if she hadn't noticed their panic. "It just got me thinking. Rebecca said the only way they found out was through an external forensic audit. She suggested I hire an independent auditor from one of the big 4 firms. You know, since the board meeting is coming up, just to make sure everything is clean." "That's not necessary," Adrian snapped, his voice an octave higher than usual. Kate raised her eyebrows, feigning surprise. "Whoa, why so defensive?" Adrian cleared his throat, adjusting his posture, trying to regain his composure. "I mean, it's a waste of money, honey. Those big 4 auditors are ridiculously expensive. Our financial situation isn't good enough for an extra $100,000 expense just to check work that Chloe has already done perfectly. Don't you trust your own sister?" The ultimate weapon was deployed: guilt. Chloe, her coughing fit over, now looked at Kate with teary eyes. "Kate, do you suspect me? I work overtime every single day." Kate let out a light laugh, patting Chloe's hand. "Oh my gosh, don't be so sensitive. I was just telling you about Rebecca. Of course not, we're family." "There's no way you two would lie to me." Kate resumed her meal calmly, but inwardly she marked down a small victory. The cold sweat on Adrian's brow and Chloe's trembling hand on her glass were all the confirmation she needed. They were terrified. Adrian's counterattack came 2 days later. Not a physical attack, but an assault on Kate's sanity. That morning, Kate was getting ready for work. She was looking for the property deed for their factory land in Elgin in the home safe. The document was critical. She distinctly remembered placing it on her vanity the previous evening, intending to take it to be photocopied. But this morning, the blue folder was gone. "Adrian, have you seen a blue folder on my vanity?" Kate asked, starting to rummage through drawers. Adrian emerged from the bathroom, toweling his hair. "What folder? The vanity's been empty since yesterday. Just your skincare stuff." "That's impossible." "I put it there at 5 p.m. when I got home," Kate said, her panic rising. "Losing the original deed could be disastrous." "Are you sure?" Adrian walked over, his face a mask of feigned concern. "Honey, you've been really forgetful lately. Last week you forgot to pick up our daughter from her piano lesson. Then you said your keys were missing, but they were in your purse the whole time." "I didn't forget to pick her up. The instructor ran late," Kate argued. "Shh, calm down. Don't get hysterical." Adrian placed his hands on her shoulders, looking at her as if she were a psychiatric patient. "Maybe you're just overworked, or it's a side effect of your migraine medication. Check your work bag again." "I've checked it 3 times, Adrian. It's not there." Kate emptied the contents of her bag onto the bed: wallet, laptop, planner, and a blue folder tucked at the very bottom. Kate stared, dumbfounded. She had checked the bag last night, and it had been empty. Adrian sighed deeply, shaking his head. "See? It was there the whole time. You're under so much stress, honey. You're starting to hallucinate. Things are missing." Kate stared at the folder, her hands trembling. She knew she wasn't crazy. Adrian must have moved it while she was asleep or in the shower. This was classic gaslighting. The goal was to make her doubt her own memory, so that if she ever testified about their crimes, Adrian could easily discredit her by saying, "My wife is mentally unstable." "Maybe you're right," Kate mumbled, looking down. She decided to play the part of the victim. I think I'm just so tired." Adrian smiled, satisfied, and kissed her forehead. "See? That's why you should let me handle the board meeting tomorrow. You just sit there and look pretty. Or maybe I should make an appointment for you with my psychiatrist friend to help you calm down." "I'll think about it," Kate replied weakly. The moment Adrian left the room, the weak expression vanished. Kate picked up her phone and sent an encrypted text to Mitch. "Kate, they're starting to play dirty at home. Install microcams in my home office and our bedroom tomorrow when the house is empty. I need proof of him moving my things." "Mitch, you got it. The equipment is already at the office." The atmosphere at Legacy Woodworks was hotter than hell. The phone at the reception desk rang nonstop. "Miss Kate, the client from Germany is furious," her assistant exclaimed the moment Kate stepped out of the elevator. Kate hurried into the conference room. Adrian and Chloe were already there. On the projector screen was a complaint email from their main European distributor. Container 402 rejected. Wood moisture content above 18%. Mold growing on all rattan chairs. "We are demanding a 100% refund and canceling next year's contract. The loss was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, not including penalty fees." "How did this pass quality control?" Kate asked sharply, looking at Adrian. He was in charge of operations. "This isn't an operations failure," Adrian countered quickly. "The kiln dryers were running normally. The problem was the budget for machine maintenance was cut last month. That was your decision, remember? You said we needed to save on energy costs." Kate was stunned. She had approved energy efficiency measures, but she had never ordered a reduction in the wood drying time. "And besides," Chloe added, her voice trembling with feigned fear, "the old temperature monitoring system is always glitching. I submitted a purchase order for new sensors last month, but it wasn't approved by Kate. So, the warehouse guys were just using their gut instincts." Kate looked at the stack of purchase orders on the table. The request was indeed there, but it was buried among hundreds of trivial invoices that an admin usually handled. Chloe had intentionally hidden it so it wouldn't be seen, but technically, it had been submitted. "So this is my fault?" Kate asked flatly. "It's no one's fault, honey," Adrian said, his tone seemingly defensive, but the content entirely accusatory. "It's just proof that you're overwhelmed. You're not checking crucial requests carefully anymore. And the consequences are severe. If the shareholders find out about this, our stock will plummet." Chloe cut in. "The company's value will drop drastically." Inwardly, Kate applauded. Bravo. It was the perfect scenario. They had deliberately shipped wet wood, damaged the company's reputation, and created a financial loss, all to drive down the stock price. When the price crashed, their shell company, Aurora Holdings, would swoop in like a savior to buy up the cheap shares. Kate massaged her temples, feigning a headache. "Okay, just handle the refund. Use the reserve funds." "The reserve funds are low," Chloe chirped. "Remember, we used them to pay that fabric supplier whose prices went up. In reality, the money had gone to Aurora Holdings." "Adrian, just handle it," Kate said, rising from her chair with a weary gait. "I'm going to my office to rest. My head is about to explode." As she left, she caught a glimpse of their reflection in the glass door. Adrian and Chloe were exchanging a small, triumphant smile. They thought they had won. They didn't know that Kate had just activated a keylogger on Chloe's computer before the meeting started. That evening, Kate didn't go home. She claimed she needed to clear her head at a hotel. In reality, she was sitting in Mitch's old Toyota van, parked across the street from a luxury apartment building in the Gold Coast. Unit 28B, Jasmine Tower, Mitch said, pointing towards a balcony high up. The deed is in Adrian Prezetch's name, bought with cash 6 months ago. The money came from the markup on a purchase of Grade A teak that was actually just Grade B. Kate stared at the building with hollow eyes. So that's their nest. It's more than a nest, kid. It's their second vault. I tracked Chloe's laptop IP address. It's frequently active there during work hours. It's highly likely the original documents for the shell company and their black ledger are stored there physically. They're not stupid enough to keep everything in the cloud. We have to get those documents, Kate hissed. Don't be reckless. That building has tight security, card access only, Mitch warned. But I have another idea. You said Adrian has been gaslighting you about missing items, right? Kate turned to him. What do you mean? Mitch smiled slyly. What if we're the ones who make them go crazy? I can clone that apartment access card if you can get your hands on Adrian's wallet for just 5 minutes. Kate thought for a moment. Adrian usually went for a swim before work in the morning. His wallet would be left in the bedroom. I can get the card tomorrow morning. What's the plan? We're not going to steal the documents now. We're going to leave them a little gift. Something that will make Chloe think Adrian has another woman besides her. Something that will fracture their alliance from within. Kate smiled coldly. A brilliant idea. A traitor's greatest enemy is their mistrust of another traitor. Mitch, please buy me a pair of women's earrings. Expensive, but tacky. A style Chloe would hate. And a fake receipt in Adrian's name from a jewelry store on Michigan Avenue, dated yesterday. Consider it done. Oh, and Kate, about the financial data you asked me to dig into. Mitch handed her a manila folder. Turns out Adrian had a pretty significant online gambling debt before he married you. He covered it up using company money during your first year of marriage. He's clean now, but the digital footprint is still there. Kate gripped the folder tightly. More ammunition. Thank you, Mitch. You're the only person I trust right now. You take care of yourself, kid. The next round is going to get rough. On the day before the board meeting, the atmosphere at home was unbearable. Adrian was being overly sweet, which only made Kate feel more nauseous. That night, Adrian entered Kate's home office carrying a stack of documents as thick as a dictionary. Honey, sorry to bother you during your downtime, Adrian said softly. There are just a few legal documents for our credit line extension. The bank needs the owner's original signature, not just the manager's. Kate put down the novel she was reading. She wasn't actually reading, she was monitoring Aurora Holdings stock movements on a phone hidden inside the book. That's a lot, Adrian. Does it have to be tonight? The bank courier is picking them up first thing in the morning, honey. It's just a formality. Just sign where I've put the yellow sticky notes. Kate knew this moment was coming. Mitch had warned her. Buried in this stack of routine paperwork would be a waiver of her voting rights or a full power of attorney, granting Adrian absolute authority to sell company assets. Okay, let me see. Kate picked up a pen. Adrian stood beside her, watching like a hawk. She flipped through the pages quickly. Credit limit approval. Collateral insurance. Right here. Kate dutifully signed the first few pages, letting Adrian guide her. Halfway through the stack, Adrian opened a page filled with dense legal text. This is just a confirmation of the business address. Sign right here at the bottom. Kate's eyes scanned it quickly. The title of the document was, indeed, Confirmation of Domicile, but the fine print in the clauses below contained a transfer of veto power. Adrian had replaced the content but left the harmless-looking title. Oh, the address. Okay. Kate moved the pen towards the paper. Suddenly, her elbow knocked over a cup of hot tea on the desk. Splash! The hot tea spilled onto the carpet and part of Adrian's pants. Ouch! Hot! Adrian jumped back, swatting at his trousers. Be careful, honey. I'm so sorry, Adrian. Oh my God, let me get a cloth. Kate scrambled up and rushed to the kitchen. Hurry up! This is sticky, Adrian called out, busy dabbing his pants with a tissue from the desk. His attention was completely diverted from the documents. In the kitchen, Kate didn't just grab a cloth. From behind the silverware drawer, she pulled out a single sheet of paper she had prepared yesterday, a paper with the exact same font, layout, and type as the document Adrian had just given her. She ran back to the office with the damp cloth, the paper hidden beneath it. "Here, let me get that." Kate knelt down to wipe Adrian's pants, forcing him to step back slightly from the desk. While Adrian was looking down at his stained trousers, Kate's right hand moved like lightning across the desk. In a split second, she pulled Adrian's booby-trapped document, crumpled it into her housecoat pocket, and replaced it with her own document in the exact same spot. "There, Adrian, we can just get it dry cleaned," Kate said, standing up. Her breathing was slightly ragged but controlled. Adrian sighed, annoyed. "All right, let's just finish this. Almost done." He returned to the desk. He didn't re-examine the document. He only saw the empty signature line. "Right here, honey." Kate smiled inwardly. She signed her name on the document she had just placed there. Adrian beamed, grabbing the document and closing the folder quickly. "All done. Thanks, honey. You get to bed. I'll clean this up." Adrian left the room with a spring in his step, feeling as though he had won everything. He was holding a piece of paper he believed would give him total control of the company. In reality, the document Kate had just signed, and which Adrian would deliver to the notary the next morning, was a personal debt confession. In it, Adrian declared full personal responsibility for all of Legacy Woodwork's financial losses due to management negligence and pledged all his personal assets, including his secret love nest apartment, to Kate as compensation. And since Adrian himself would be registering the document with the notary, never bothering to read it again, it would become legally binding. Adrian was digging his own grave, and he was whistling while he did it. Kate sat back down in her chair. She picked up her phone and typed a message to Chloe from an anonymous number Mitch had set up. The message read, "Your boyfriend just bought a diamond necklace at a boutique on Michigan Avenue today, but it wasn't for you. Check the glove compartment of his car." Kate pressed send. Tonight, Adrian would sleep soundly, dreaming of his corporate takeover. But tomorrow, Chloe would wake up with a burning suspicion. And when two thieves start to suspect each other, that's when their house of cards begins to fall. The underground parking garage of the office building was dim and damp. Chloe stood next to Adrian's black BMW 5 Series, impatiently tapping her high heel on the concrete floor. The message from the unknown number was seared into her mind. "Your boyfriend just bought a diamond necklace at a boutique on Michigan Avenue today, but it wasn't for you. Check the glove compartment of his car." "No way," Chloe muttered to herself. "Adrian only loves me. Kate is just his meal ticket." But doubt is a parasite. Once it latches on, it devours logic. When Adrian emerged from the elevator, on the phone, Chloe forced a smile. As soon as he unlocked the car, she slid into the passenger seat before he could even open the door for her. "In a hurry, are we? Where should we go for lunch?" Adrian asked, getting into the driver's seat. "Whatever," Chloe answered curtly, her eyes fixed on the glove compartment. "Adrian, can you pass me a tissue? Is there any in there?" "Yeah, grab some." With her heart pounding, Chloe opened the compartment. There, nestled between the car manual and a pair of sunglasses, was a small, red velvet pouch bearing the logo of a famous jewelry store. Her blood ran cold. The message was true. She opened the pouch. Inside wasn't a diamond necklace, as the message claimed, but a pair of white gold earrings with large, gaudy rose designs. There was also a purchase receipt, dated the previous afternoon. The price was $2,500. Chloe froze. This wasn't her style. She hated floral motifs. She loved sleek, modern designs. Adrian knew that. "Who are these for?" she asked, her voice icy. Adrian turned, saw the earrings, and his face went pale for a second. He didn't remember buying them, but the receipt was right there, in his car. Was he drunk? Did he forget? They're for you, honey. A surprise for our 2-year anniversary next month." Adrian lied quickly, trying to cover his own confusion. "Liar," Chloe hissed. "You know I hate floral patterns. You once said they look like something a tacky suburban mom would wear. Who are they for, Adrian? Who's your new side piece, that new assistant of yours?" "Chloe, for God's sake, I don't have anyone else but you and, well, Kate at home. Maybe it was a mistake. I had my assistant pick them up." You had your assistant buy a gift for our secret anniversary? What do you take me for? Chloe threw the earrings in Adrian's face. Chloe, that's enough, Adrian yelled. We're in a critical situation with the board meeting coming up. Don't start this petty drama now. Put those earrings away. We'll talk about it later. Chloe fell silent, but her eyes blazed with fury. She picked up the earrings and put them in her own purse, not because she wanted them, but as evidence. In Chloe's mind, a new narrative was forming. Adrian is planning to dump me. After he gets Kate's company, he'll kick me to the curb and leave with this tacky flowered woman. Across town, Kate smiled as she watched the GPS dot of Adrian's car remain stationary in the parking garage. Mitch had just sent her a text. Bait taken. The next day, Kate walked into the office wearing a pristine white blazer, a stark contrast to the grim atmosphere. The employees' faces were tense. Kate walked straight to Chloe's office. Inside, Adrian and Chloe were in the middle of a heated argument. The door closed, but their voices still seeping out. As soon as Kate knocked and entered, they went silent. What's going on? Why all the fighting so early in the morning? Kate asked with an innocent, motherly tone. Adrian rubbed his tired face. Chloe sat in front of her laptop, pale, not daring to look at Kate. Just a small technical issue, honey, Adrian said. The bank account of our main overseas vendor has been frozen. Which vendor? Aurora Holdings? Kate asked, casually dropping the name of their shell company. Chloe flinched. You know about Aurora? Of course. I sign the payment checks to them every month, Chloe. What's wrong? Adrian quickly took over. So, we just got a notice from the bank that Aurora's account was frozen by international financial authorities. They say there are signs of money laundering. The $500,000 we just transferred yesterday is stuck there. That was the last of Legacy Woodworks' reserve funds, which Adrian and Chloe had stolen as capital for their planned stock buyback. Now, that money was locked up, thanks to an anonymous report Mitch had sent to the financial authorities in the British Virgin Islands. Oh my God, Kate covered her mouth, feigning utter shock. That $500,000 was for next month's operating costs, Adrian. If that's gone, we can't make payroll. I'm handling it, honey. I'm contacting our lawyers over there, Adrian said, his voice laced with desperation. How could they be accused of money laundering? Kate walked over to Chloe's desk and looked her sister straight in the eye. Are you sure this vendor is credible, Chloe? You were the one who vetted them, right? Chloe trembled, cold sweat beading on her forehead. If she said the vendor wasn't credible, she'd be admitting her own incompetence as head of finance. If she defended them fiercely, Kate would wonder why she cared so much about a third party. It was Adrian's recommendation. Kate, Chloe said, throwing the hot potato to Adrian. She was still furious about the earrings. Adrian glared at Chloe. What are you talking about? You handled all the paperwork. Stop it, both of you, Kate interrupted. This isn't the time for blaming each other. What's the solution? The board meeting is in 3 days. If the shareholders find out our cash reserves are empty and the money is tied up with a problematic vendor, they could sue us for criminal negligence. The words criminal negligence hung heavily in the air. Adrian, Kate said, placing a hand on her husband's arm. You have to make sure we get that money back. Unless Aurora is just a fraudulent company trying to scam us. Adrian swallowed hard. He was trapped in his own web of lies. He couldn't say it was their own company without admitting to a felony. It's not fraudulent, honey. It's just an administrative misunderstanding. Don't worry. Kate nodded slowly, her eyes conveying deep disappointment. I hope so. I have a headache, Adrian. I'm just going to go home. You two solve this. As she walked out of the office, she sent a text to Mitch. Freeze it for good. Make sure that money is inaccessible before the meeting. 2 days before the board meeting, Kate hosted a dinner party. She invited Adrian's parents, Robert and Linda Grant, a retired, respectable couple who valued family honor above all else, and Dylan, Chloe's fiancé, an earnest and naive young entrepreneur. The dining table was elegantly set with candles and fresh flowers. Please, help yourselves. This is a new recipe, Kate said graciously, serving her in-laws. Kate, you truly are the perfect wife, Linda praised. Adrian is so lucky to have you. And Chloe is lucky to have a sister who gives her a job. Oh, you're too kind, Kate smiled. Actually, I'm the one who's lucky. Adrian and Chloe are such a great team. At the office, they're always together, lunch together, working late together. Sometimes, even on business trips, Adrian insists on taking Chloe instead of another assistant. A brief silence fell. Dylan, who was cutting his steak, paused. He looked at Chloe. A business trip? You told me you went to San Diego alone last week to check on a supplier. Chloe choked on her drink. Yeah. Adrian came later, just for a little while. That's right, Adrian chimed in quickly. Just a quick briefing, then I flew right back to Chicago. Oh, Kate tilted her head, her face a picture of innocent confusion. Really? Because the hotel bill was for a king suite, in Adrian's name, for 3 full nights. I must have misread the financial report. I've been so stressed lately. Robert Grant's face hardened. He was an old-fashioned man. He knew what a king suite implied. Adrian, what is your wife talking about? It's a data entry error, Dad. The travel agent messed up, Adrian said, starting to sweat. He shot Kate a sharp look, signaling her to be quiet. But Kate wasn't finished. Oh, and Dylan, Kate turned to her sister's fiancé. Did you know Chloe is so thoughtful towards Adrian? The other day, when Adrian pulled a muscle in his back, Chloe stayed late to give him a massage in his office. They even locked the door so they wouldn't be disturbed. It's so sweet, isn't it? A brother-in-law and sister-in-law looking out for each other. Scrape! The sound of Dylan's knife scratching the ceramic plate was jarring. A massage? He asked coldly. The door was locked? Kate! Chloe cried out, her face crimson. What are you talking about? That was when Adrian had a pinched nerve. I was just helping him apply some pain relief cream. I was just complimenting you, honey, Kate said, her face a mask of innocence. Why are you so upset? It's great that you two are so close that Adrian knows your bra size. Your blouse size for the new office uniforms. Right, Adrian? The dinner party was a complete disaster. Linda stared at Chloe with disgust. Robert looked at Adrian with fury. Dylan looked at Chloe as if she were a stranger. Adrian slammed his napkin on the table. Kate, are you drunk? You're talking nonsense. I've only had water, honey, Kate replied calmly, her eyes glinting with cold fire. Why? Did I say something wrong? You're all family. There shouldn't be any secrets between us, right? The night ended with Dylan leaving without kissing Chloe goodbye. Adrian's parents went home in stony silence. Adrian and Chloe were left in the dining room, staring at Kate, who was calmly eating her dessert pudding. You did that on purpose, Adrian hissed. Did what, darling? Applaud your closeness? Kate stood up, brushing crumbs from her dress. Well, I'm going to bed. I have a salon appointment tomorrow to get ready for the board meeting. You two clean up this mess. The night before the meeting, Kate sat in Mitch's van again, wearing headphones. On Mitch's laptop screen was the black and white feed from the hidden camera in Adrian's Love Nest apartment. On the screen, Adrian and Chloe looked disheveled. Chloe was crying, her mascara running down her cheeks. Adrian was pacing back and forth, smoking a cigarette, a habit he claimed to have quit 5 years ago. The audio came through the headphones. It's all falling apart, Chloe, Adrian's voice said. The money is frozen, Dylan is suspicious, my father is furious. This is all because of your sister's big mouth. This is because you're incompetent, Adrian, Chloe shot back. Why did you let Kate find out about the hotel? You said you had all the evidence secured. Shut up, Chloe. Now is not the time for blame. The meeting is tomorrow. If we don't take over the company tomorrow, we're finished. I have massive debts. If Aurora fails to buy the shares, the loan sharks will come after me. Kate held her breath. So Adrian had other debts she didn't know about. So what do we do? Our money is gone, Chloe sobbed. We go with Plan C, character assassination. Adrian opened his briefcase and pulled out a red folder. I've already forged Kate's signature on these. They're fake bank transfers, making it look like Kate was the one who embezzled the $500,000 into her personal account. We'll tell the shareholders that Kate has been using company funds to support a lavish lifestyle, play the stock market, and have an affair. An affair? With who? Chloe asked. With whoever. We can pay some guy to say he was her lover. The point is to destroy her credibility tomorrow. Then the shareholders will have no choice but to oust her and appoint me as interim CEO until the mess is sorted out. Once I'm CEO, I can liquidate the factory assets to pay off our debts. Chloe hesitated, but then nodded, a new layer of cunning in her eyes. Okay, but I'm holding on to an original copy of that, Adrian, just in case. You don't trust me? He asked. After the earring incident? Not 100%, she replied. Kate took off her headphones. She looked at Mitch. They're going to frame me in front of all the shareholders tomorrow, accuse me of being a corrupt adulteress. Mitch shook his head. Pure, unadulterated evil. Are you ready, Kate? Kate pulled the flash drive from her pocket. More than ready. Tomorrow, I'm not just going to defend myself, I'm going to strip them naked in public. One more thing, kid, Mitch said. Chloe just secretly emailed a file from Adrian's laptop to her personal account while he was in the bathroom. I intercepted the data traffic. It's an audio recording of Adrian admitting the entire embezzlement scheme was his idea. She's preparing a life raft for herself. Kate smiled grimly. Perfect. Chloe will be the weapon that finishes Adrian. We'll let them tear each other apart on stage tomorrow. Kate got home at 11 p.m. The house was dark. She went into the master bedroom. Adrian was already there, pretending to be asleep, his back to her side of the bed. Kate knew he was awake. His breathing was too irregular. She decided to play her final part. She sat on the edge of the bed and began to sob softly. She opened her nightstand drawer, took out a bottle of sleeping pills, the contents of which she had replaced with vitamins, and deliberately dropped it, sending the pills scattering across the floor. Adrian woke up, turning over. Kate, what's wrong? I can't do this, Adrian, Kate sobbed, her body shaking. I have a terrible feeling about tomorrow. I'm scared. I feel like I've failed as a leader, failed as a wife. At dinner tonight, I felt so horrible for saying those things to Chloe. Kate looked at Adrian, her eyes wet with tears. Am I going crazy, Adrian? Were you right? Do I need to see a psychiatrist? Adrian sat up. His face instantly transformed into the mask of a protective angel. He pulled Kate into a hug. Behind her back, Adrian smiled broadly, a smile of victory. He thought her spirit was completely broken. Tomorrow, this woman would be easy to crush at the podium. Shh, it's okay, honey. You're just tired, Adrian whispered, stroking her hair. Tomorrow, at the meeting, you don't have to say a thing, okay? Let me represent you. You just sit there and nod. I'll clean up this whole mess. After this, you can take a long rest. I'll take care of the company. Really? You'll take care of everything? Kate asked weakly. Everything. You trust me, don't you? Kate pulled back from the hug, looking deep into her husband's eyes. Yes, Adrian, I trust that you will get exactly what you deserve. Adrian missed the double meaning in her words. He kissed her forehead and told her to get some sleep. Kate lay down, her back to him. In the darkness, her tears stopped instantly. Her gaze, fixed on the wall, was sharp and focused. In her head, she ran through her checklist for the morning. The original presentation file was secured. The video of the affair was ready to play. Proof of the transfers to Adrian and Chloe's accounts was printed. The Economic Crimes Unit, coordinated by Mitch, was on standby for 10 a.m. The debt confession Adrian had signed was already with the notary. Kate closed her eyes, but not to sleep. She was visualizing their destruction. Tomorrow, there would be no more Kate, the dutiful wife. Tomorrow, the woman walking into that boardroom would be Kate, daughter of the founder of Legacy Woodworks, the queen, about to behead the rebels. The clock on the wall ticked. 12 hours until their time was up. The main conference room on the top floor of the Legacy Woodworks building felt colder than usual. The air conditioning was set to its lowest temperature, yet sweat trickled down the back of Adrian's neck. The long, solid teak table was surrounded by the 7 most influential people in the company's survival. There was Robert Grant, Adrian's father, and a passive board member, a representative from their creditor bank, 2 minority investors, the corporate notary, Chloe, Adrian, and at the head of the table, Kate. Kate sat silently, wearing a simple black dress with no jewelry. Her face was bare of heavy makeup. She looked small, fragile, and resigned exactly as Adrian wanted. All right, let's begin. Adrian opened the meeting with a confident baritone. He stood, adjusted his expensive suit jacket, and looked at each person in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, our agenda today is critical. As you've seen from the reports distributed, this past quarter has been the darkest period for Legacy Woodworks. Chloe, to his left, passed out red folders to the attendees. Her hand trembled slightly as she placed one in front of Kate. Kate didn't touch it. Our operating losses have reached $500,000, Adrian continued, pointing to a steep downward graph on the projector screen. Our cash reserves are empty, vendor debts are piling up, and, what is most painful for me to report? Adrian paused for dramatic effect, putting on a well-rehearsed, sad expression. Our internal audit has discovered a significant misappropriation of funds, traced directly to the personal account of Miss Kate. A murmur of shock filled the room. The bank representative frowned. Robert Grant stared at his daughter-in-law in disbelief. "Kate?" Robert asked sharply. "Is this true?" Kate just looked down, fiddling with the edge of the tablecloth. Her silence was taken as an admission of guilt by Adrian. "I have the proof, sir." Adrian clicked the remote. A slide appeared showing the forged bank transfers, with funds flowing into an account under Kate's name. "I tried to cover this up for the sake of the family's good name. But as a professional, I cannot allow the company to be destroyed by my wife's out-of-control lifestyle." Adrian took a heavy breath, as if the weight of the world was on his shoulders. "Therefore, with a heavy heart, I am proposing a motion of no confidence. I ask the shareholders to revoke Kate's mandate as CEO and appoint new management to restructure the company and execute a stock buyback to ensure our survival." "Who would this new management be?" one of the investors asked. "I am prepared to take on that responsibility," Adrian answered firmly. "And Aurora Holdings, our strategic partner, is willing to inject fresh capital today on the condition that management is replaced." Chloe nodded quickly. "I support Adrian. The financial data is valid. If we don't take action now, we will be bankrupt by tomorrow." The room was silent. All eyes were on Kate. The wife accused of corruption, the woman who looked defeated. "Miss Kate," the notary said, "do you have anything to say in your defense?" Kate slowly lifted her head. Her eyes weren't wet. There was no fear in them. There was only a terrifying calm, like the surface of a lake before a hurricane. "Thank you, Adrian, for your very creative presentation." Kate's voice was clear, cutting through the tense silence. She stood up slowly. "I won't defend myself with words. I know you are all busy people who value efficiency. So, allow me to show you the management's actual performance report." Kate pulled a small flash drive from her pocket. Adrian smirked. "What are you going to show them? Pictures from your vacations paid for with company money?" Kate didn't answer. She unplugged the HDMI cable from Adrian's laptop and plugged it into her own, which she had just pulled out from under the table, Chloe's old laptop, the one Mitch had repaired. Chloe's eyes went wide. She recognized the sticker on the lid. "Please, pay close attention," Kate said. "This video is exactly 13 minutes long, the same amount of time it took for you to try and destroy my life." Kate pressed enter. The projector screen flickered once. It wasn't a table of numbers that appeared, nor a stock chart. The first thing that came out was audio. The sound of Adrian and Chloe's laughter, echoing clearly through the conference room's advanced sound system. "It's so easy to fool your old man, Chloe. He bought that story about the broken machine, hook, line, and sinker. Meanwhile, we used the money for the down payment on the apartment." Then the visual appeared. It was CCTV footage from a high corner of an apartment living room. Adrian and Chloe were on a sofa, surrounded by expensive wine bottles, looking at a laptop. The date stamp on the video was from just last week. Robert Grant gasped. His hands gripped the arms of his chair, his face flushing with rage. On the screen, Adrian raised his glass. "To the stupidity of Kate. My wife is so naive. She'll never realize we're gutting her company from the inside." The Chloe in the video laughed playfully, resting her head on Adrian's shoulder. "Kate deserves to be replaced. She's too soft. After the board meeting tomorrow, we'll be the king and queen of Legacy Woodworks. Aurora Holdings will be the rightful owner." In the real conference room, Chloe's face was ashen, as white as paper. She tried to stand. "Turn it off. That's fake. It's a deep fake. Adrian, turn it off." Adrian lunged toward Kate's laptop, trying to yank the cable, but the conference room doors swung open. 2 large men, private security hired by Kate, entered and restrained Adrian, forcing him back into his seat. "Sit down, Adrian," Kate commanded coldly. "Watch it to the end. It's your masterpiece." The video changed. This time, digital data filled the screen. The real bank transfers. The $500,000 that was supposedly lost was clearly shown, flowing into an account in Adrian Prasetya's name at an offshore bank. Then, a portion was transferred to an account belonging to Chloe. Then came the intimate photos. Not vulgar, but photos that showed a sickening emotional intimacy. Kissing in Adrian's car. Holding hands in a hotel lobby when he was supposed to be on a business trip. Then came the audio from the micro-camera Mitch had planted in Adrian's office. "We'll tell the shareholders that Kate has been using company funds to support a lavish lifestyle. We can pay some guy to say he was her lover." The breath was sucked out of the room. The notary stopped typing, his mouth agape. The bank representative shook his head in disgust. The real Adrian was silent, his legs weak. He collapsed back into his chair. The narrative of the crazy, spendthrift wife he had so carefully constructed for months had been obliterated in minutes. Kate looked at her husband. "Well, Adrian? Still want to say this was for my lifestyle?" Chloe began to cry hysterically. "It's a lie! Adrian forced me. He threatened me. Dad, please help me, Dad." Chloe looked at her father, Robert Grant. Robert stood up, his old body trembling with uncontainable rage. He walked over to Adrian, his own son. Slap! A hard smack landed on Adrian's cheek. "You!" Robert's voice quaked, tears of disappointment streaming down his wrinkled face. "I raised you to be an honorable man, and you commit adultery with your own sister-in-law. You steal from your wife, from the family that raised you." Adrian held his stinging cheek, his mask shattered. His male ego was mortally wounded. He glared at Kate with a look of pure murder. Okay. You win with the video," he hissed, his voice raspy with hatred. "But you can't just fire me. I still have voting rights. And as for that $500,000, it was a failed business decision, not a crime. You can't prove I stole it legally." Adrian tried to stand, to straighten his jacket. "I'll countersue you for defamation and illegal recording." Kate smiled faintly, a smile that made the hairs on Adrian's arms stand up. "Oh, I forgot one thing," she said softly. Kate took a blue folder from her bag, a folder that looked very familiar to Adrian. "Remember the document you had me sign 2 nights ago, Adrian? The one you said was a confirmation of our business address?" Adrian's eyes widened, his heart feeling as if it had stopped. Kate opened the folder and showed it to the notary and the bank representative. "This is a legally binding confession of debt and absolute liability," Kate explained in a loud, clear voice. "It states here that Mr. Adrian Prasetya knowingly admits that all financial losses incurred by Legacy Woodworks due to transactions with Aurora Holdings are his sole personal responsibility. And," Kate pointed to the final paragraph, "as compensation, Mr. Adrian has surrendered all his personal assets, including his Gold Coast apartment, his car, and his personal shares, to me, Kate, as payment for said debt." That's impossible," Adrian screamed. "I never signed that. It was a trap. You switched the papers." "Your signature is authentic, notarized, and was registered yesterday morning by your own staff, because you were the one who told them to process that important document as quickly as possible. Remember?" Adrian remembered. He had indeed told a courier to take the folder straight to the notary without rechecking it, overconfident after the spilled tea drama. His own arrogance had tightened the noose around his neck. "So," Kate continued, turning to the bank representative, "legally, the company's funds are secure, as they are guaranteed by Adrian's assets. The only one going bankrupt here isn't Legacy Woodworks. It's Adrian Prasetya. And one more thing." Kate glanced towards the entrance. "You can come in now, gentlemen." The doors opened wide. This time it wasn't security guards. 3 uniformed police officers walked in, followed by Mitch, who was wearing a crisp button-down shirt. "Good morning," the lead officer said. "We're from the Economic Crimes Unit. We have a warrant for the arrest of Mr. Adrian Prasetya and Miss Chloe for corporate embezzlement, document forgery, and international money laundering." "Money laundering?" Adrian stumbled back until his back hit the wall. "What proof do you have?" Mitch stepped forward, smiling with satisfaction. The report from the British Virgin Islands Financial Investigation Agency came in this morning, Adrian. They confirmed that the beneficial owners of Aurora Holdings are the two of you, and the digital trail, well, it was very neatly stored on a shadow server on your sister-in-law's laptop. Adrian's legs gave out. There was no escape. Checkmate. As the handcuffs came out, the undying love between Adrian and Chloe disintegrated in seconds. Chloe shrieked as a female officer took her arm. "Don't touch me! I'm innocent! I'm a victim!" Chloe glared at Adrian with venom in her eyes. "Officer, he's the mastermind," she pointed at Adrian. "I have proof. I have a recording of him forcing me to manipulate the financial reports. He said if I didn't, he would leak my private photos." Chloe, her hands cuffed, fumbled for her phone, trying to play the recording she had stolen from Adrian's laptop just as Mitch had predicted. Adrian's voice filled the air. "Don't worry, Chloe. If we get caught, we'll just make Kate the scapegoat. My shell company idea is untraceable." Adrian's face was purple with rage, the veins in his neck bulging. Being betrayed by his lover in front of the police made him lose his mind. "You snake!" Adrian screamed, lunging for Chloe, only to be held back by the police. "You were the one who begged me to buy you an apartment. You gave me the idea to poison Kate's mind and make her think she was depressed. You were the one who enjoyed the money. You were the one who promised to marry me," Chloe shrieked back. "You said Kate was boring. You said you hated her." "Enough," the officer barked. Amidst the chaos of accusations, Kate stood silently at the end of the table. She watched the two people she had once loved most, her husband and her sister, tear each other apart like cornered animals. There was no love left, no loyalty, only a pathetic instinct for survival. The elevator doors opened again. Dylan, Chloe's fiancé, appeared out of breath. He had been summoned by Mitch. "Dylan, baby!" Chloe saw a glimmer of hope. "Help me. Tell them I'm innocent." "I was framed." Dylan stared at Chloe with a blank expression. He saw the handcuffs on her wrists, then looked at Adrian. He heard the recording still playing on her phone. He walked closer. Chloe smiled hopefully. Dylan slipped the engagement ring from his finger and placed it on the table directly in front of her. "We're done, Chloe," he said coldly. "I don't want a criminal for a wife. And worse, someone who would betray their own sister." "Dylan, no!" Chloe collapsed to the floor, wailing, having lost her money, her freedom, and now the only man who had ever truly loved her. The police escorted Adrian and Chloe out of the room. Adrian managed to look back at Kate one last time, his eyes pleading. "Kate, please, I'm your husband." Kate stared back at him, her face a mask. "My husband died the day he decided to sleep with my sister and steal my daughter's future. You're just a stranger who owes me a lot of money." The doors closed. Silence enveloped the conference room. Robert Grant sat slumped in his chair, covering his face with his hands, sobbing with shame and heartbreak. Kate walked over to him, gently placing a hand on her father-in-law's shoulder. "I'm sorry, Robert. I had to do this." Robert shook his head, gripping Kate's hand. "No, my child. You saved your father's company. Adrian deserves this. I am the one who failed to raise him." Kate looked out the floor-to-ceiling window. The Chicago skyline was bright and clear. The storm had passed. 3 months later, the atmosphere at Legacy Woodworks was completely transformed. The dreary gray walls had been repainted a warm cream color. The abstract paintings were replaced with historical photos of the company, dating back to her father's time. The energy in the office was light and productive. Kate sat in the CEO's chair, the one Adrian used to occupy. Her desk was clear, holding only a framed photo of her daughter and a small, wooden miniature chair. Her intercom buzzed. "Miss Kate, Mitch is here." "Send him in," Kate replied with a smile. The door opened. Mitch walked in, looking slightly more put together than usual, though he still wore his old sneakers. "Good afternoon, boss lady," Mitch said playfully. "Don't call me that, Mitch. Just Kate, like before." Kate stood to shake the old man's hand. "Please, have a seat. Coffee? You know it. Black." They sat on the guest sofa. "So, how are our guests at the state-run resort?" Mitch asked after a sip of coffee. Kate let out a relieved breath. The verdict came down yesterday. Adrian got 8 years, Chloe got 5 for being a cooperating witness. Adrian's assets were seized by the bank, and a portion was returned to the company. The apartment where they had their little nest, I sold it, donated the money to a children's shelter. A clean sweep, Mitch praised, not a single loose end. And Adrian's parents? Mitch asked. They moved to Florida to get away from it all. They still video call with their granddaughter, but they're too ashamed to see me in person. I told them my door is always open, but it might take time. Mitch nodded. He reached into his bag and pulled out an object wrapped in cloth. It was the external hard drive from Chloe's laptop, the genesis of everything. This is the last piece of evidence, Kate. The police returned the original data after the trial was over. What do you want to do with it? Kate looked at the rectangular object, such a small thing to hold such a mountain of sin. Inside were videos of betrayal, documents of theft, and bitter memories that had nearly destroyed her sanity. Kate took the hard drive. She walked over to the industrial-grade paper shredder in the corner of her office, a machine that could also destroy CDs and credit cards. The company data is all backed up on the new secure server, right, Mitch? Secure as Fort Knox. My own custom encryption, Mitch replied. In that case, Kate said, there's no need to hold on to the past. She fed the hard drive into the machine's slot. A harsh, grinding sound of metal and plastic filled the air, then fell silent. Tiny fragments dropped into the collection bin. Feel better? Mitch asked. Immensely, Kate replied. The 13-minute video was gone. All that was left was the future. Kate walked back to her desk and picked up a thick envelope. Mitch, this is a contract. I want your shop to become the official IT and cybersecurity vendor for Legacy Woodworks. I need an honest man guarding my fortress, and I'm not taking no for an answer. Mitch was stunned. Then a wide grin spread across his face, making his eyes crinkle. Well, I'll be. An old repairman promoted to head of cybersecurity. Does the pay match the title? Kate let out a real, genuine laugh. A laugh not born from pretense, but from true happiness. More than enough for you to open a new, much nicer branch. Kate walked to the large window, looking out at the city below. She remembered the moment she found that damaged laptop. At the time, she felt her world was collapsing, but it turned out that the damage was just a way of showing her that the foundation of her life was rotten and needed to be rebuilt. Now, she stood on her own, without a treacherous husband, without a parasitic sister. She was Kate, the woman who had rebuilt her kingdom from splinters of wood and courage. Business is business, she murmured softly, repeating her father's motto, and the betrayal has been paid in full.